Imagine this scenario. You're at a party and someone near you makes a comment or joke that is completely unfunny and also rather stupid. The reaction of most people within hearing range is to stare at the person with wide eyes and then quickly turn away in an attempt to ignore what has just transpired. Slowly, however, the conversation starts up again, and everyone, most of all the one who made the joke, tries to forget that this ever happened. Sound familiar? Well, to the majority of people, it most likely will. Many of us were probably even the one who instigated that awkward silence. Surprising as it may seem, even I have been subjected to this treatment before. However, I'm sure that you have also been in situations where someone has said something so funny that it has people in hysterics with just the memory of it. In both of these cases, one would probably say that that person has a good or a bad sense of humor. But what exactly is humor? And why does it cause us to laugh at something? Almost every major figure in the history of philosophy has proposed an answer to these questions. But after 2,500 years of discussion, there has been little consensus about what constitutes humor. Humor is a complex phenomenon. When we try to define exactly what counts as humor and what does not, or how humor operates, we find it quite difficult. One point that is generally agreed on, however, is that humor is comprised of three components: wit, mirth, and laughter. Wit is the cognitive or intellectual experience. Mirth is the emotional experience, while laughter comprises the physiological experience. We often equate laughter with humor, but there are many examples of laughter, such as tickling or nervousness, that clearly have little to do with humor. Similarly, there are many instances of humor that do not result in laughter due to the mood of the appreciator or the social context, among other influences. Now, although I have just said that defining humor is a very difficult undertaking, for the purpose of this speech, I will attempt to give you some insight into this subject with the following points. First of all, humor is the experience of an incongruity or an abnormality. In one's environment, the incongruity may be experienced when someone falls down in a situation when they are not expected to fall down. Or the incongruity can be between concepts, thoughts, or ideas of something like a cartoon, as opposed to the actual image. Humor is produced when something out of the ordinary develops from a commonplace situation. Second, as James Thurber once stated, humor is emotional chaos remembered in tranquility. We commonly say that it wasn't funny at the time. Later, though, we can appreciate the humor in a situation. This occurs frequently when people are experiencing a crisis, and at some later time, that crisis is perceived as humorous. Thirdly, humor can be experienced in the joy of getting it. Humor can be the understanding of something that we at first did not comprehend. This occurs every day in misunderstandings at which we later laugh. Finally, humor can also occur from the experience of the forbidden. This occurs most often with younger children when they feel elation after getting away with something that is prohibited. One of the best things about humor is that it's also a quality of perception that enables us to experience joy even when faced with adversity. During stressful conditions, we may sustain tension or fatigue and sometimes develop a sense of hopelessness or futility. Yet while experiencing something humorous, one cannot hold on to these unpleasant emotions. In many cases, laughter really is the best medicine. An important point to make regarding humor, however, is that it can be very subjective. What one person finds funny, another might cringe at. Just as beauty resides in the eye of the beholder, humor resides in the funny bone of the receiver of the experience. For example, something that I consider funny, which others might not, is the lack of candy at today's meeting. Rest assured that I would not have deprived you of this without a very good reason. That reason being is that I felt it duty-bound to live up to my position as a politician. Therefore, after diligently fulfilling my promises for 1 week, I am now throwing them out the window. On that note, I think I had better end this speech before I'm impeached. So, therefore, I'd like to leave you with this thought, which is that although we may try to define what's humorous and what's not, in the end, humor is something that really isn't tangible. When analyzing comedy and what's funny, it's almost like it is only visible out of the corner of your eye. When you try to look at it too much and analyze, or when you try to look directly at it and analyze it too much, all of the funniness disappears. There is something about humor that can never be reduplicated. It's in the moment and the people around you. Humor, after all, is social. That's why you laugh harder at something when you experience it with other people laughing around you. So next time you're with friends, neighbors, or even the dreaded relatives, take some time to laugh and see the humor in the situation. Even if they are laughing at you, you may as well be laughing with them. Mr. Toastmaster.